My name's Adele Onyango and welcome to another episode of Legally Clueless. No, seriously, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Hey you, welcome to episode 279 of Legally Clueless. So much gratitude to you for rocking with this podcast. If you're an OG member and have been here from day one, I appreciate you. If you're new to this podcast episodes go out every Monday and Wednesday and very soon, Fridays too. However, before I give away secrets, because when we launch the podcast, you will know more about it. But back to this episode, this is what's coming up.
I was like, I am not going to boarding school. I am leaving this school. And I even dropped my grades. I frustrated my parents because my dad is very sharp. He had a scholarship to go to the UK. So he always wished for us to go to the UK. But here we are emceeing. And then I used to have an afro. That thing used to throw him off. It's like, why are you not neat? But I have combed my afro. Why are you telling me I'm not neat? So nowadays he's very happy that I am bald. From journalist to I'm going to become a basketball player. I'll get a scholarship. I'll go abroad. I'll become a rapper. I'll get shot and I will die. So I will confess today that we were caught with what they call Mwakenyas.
That is James, who is one of the top MCs here in Kenya. And we're going to listen to part one of his story a little later in this episode. But first and foremost, I hope you're doing well. I owe you a protest episode. I know, let me just report myself. But I figured I would hold off on it until after this Tuesday because I intend to go for the next protest that's happening in Kenya. And I feel like that one might have more of a story and I want to include it in the podcast episode. So it's coming. Number two, I'm super excited because I'm doing casting for my film tomorrow. So please, when you hear this, just like cross your fingers for me that it goes well. This is my first time doing it. I have an amazing producer who also happens to be one of the closest people in my life. So at least I'm not walking the unknown alone. At least I'm very excited, but I also wanted to just like turn out okay. So yeah, cross your fingers for me. Last thing I'll say before we jump into 100 African stories. Do you remember the GP I told you about who has become my personal doctor now? In case you've forgotten, I told you about her. I don't know. I feel like last year is when I told you about her because she completely changed and saved my life. Around September, October last year, I just come back from New York. And I had a complete breakdown, mental, physical breakdown. I couldn't get out of bed, like literally had to have someone come and do groceries for me. I was not able to leave my bed and like my mind was just in such a dark place. My physical body just felt like it was giving up on me. Oh my goodness. And I had a friend come visit me and she told me, you've got to go see my doctor. And so I did. I was like, you know what? I hate feeling like this. If I stay in this bedroom with my curtains drawn for one more day, I don't know if I'm going to survive this. And so I went to see Dr. Sally and it was wonderful. She taught me so much about how my mental health manifests in my physical. I learned how my gut health especially was affected. I learned the importance of sleep because at that time I was not able to sleep like 3 days. Had not slept. I learned about the importance of a routine. She helped me put that together. We did so much tests just to understand what was happening with my body, with my hormones, and just kind of marrying that with my mental health. And now I'm taking much better care of myself because of the things she's taught me. I've been back to see her, obviously, many more times after that because, as I said, she's become my GP. And when I spoke about her a couple of podcast episodes ago, quite a few of you wanted to be connected with her. So I know on social media, we sent you her number, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? She is going to be our guest speaker at our next wellness talk. It's virtual, meaning wherever you are in the world, you can tune in. I just want you to have the same information she gave me. I want you to know how to take care of your mental health and your physical health at the same time. I want you to have access to this information that you would in other spaces have to pay an arm and a leg for. And so it's on the 3rd of August, Tickets go live on Wednesday. Our wellness talks are always 1,000 bob. The link will be out with the Wednesday podcast episode. But yeah, share this with your girlfriends because I know one of the things she wants to really talk about is stress and how it affects us, especially women, and the type of lifestyle diseases we're seeing younger African women getting just because of stress. Yeah, trust me. Oh my goodness. I'm really excited about this wellness talk. So I hope that you come through for it. So mark your calendars, 3rd of August. Tickets go live on Wednesday, and it's normally in the morning hours from about 10 a.m. So you can block it out on your calendar. All right, let's jump into 100 African stories. Very excited about this one because James is quite the storyteller. So this is part 1. Part 2 will go on next week. And it's the story of the only MC with an LLB. 100 African stories on Legally Clueless. Stories from Africa.
One time, two time, short time is the only MC with an LLB. My name is Kibunja, James Kibunja. They call me the only MC with an LLB. Yes, I have studied law. Yes, I am an MC full time. How does that work? It connects. I was born in the urban town or estate of South Sea, Mater Hospital, which is a very interesting fact because also my wife was born there. But I was born at Mater Hospital, though I grew up in the rural areas. That's Kiambu town, and majorly Nyandarua, which is the capital city of potatoes in Kenya. First time in Nairobi was maybe 2006 or 7 when I joined high school. So majorly I was in Kiambu. Things I remember about my childhood: swimming in the river, yani things that village kids do. Swim in the river, we steal sugarcane, we rear rabbits, we go hunting for rabbits and ducks. Because by then, Kiambu was not a metropolitan, it was a village, proper village. In fact, where my parents reside until now is the hospital quarters of Kiambu District Hospital. My mom is a health practitioner. My dad is retired aeronautical engineer. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. He is a retired aeronautical engineer. So he's in Nyandarua most of the time. But my mom's still in Kiambu. Where I was driving this point is Kiambu. If you've been to Kiambu, the street right now is clear. There's parking spots. But where there's parking spots used to be shops. And every shop, we knew which shop had the best sweets, which shop had the best balloons, which shop had the best bread. And that's how the community was. Nowadays I go to Kiambu, I'm like, where am I? There's even traffic in Kiambu. I never saw traffic in Kiambu. Yes, I'd come to Nairobi, but I was too young, maybe for a dental appointment, not to discover Nairobi. So that's why I'm saying my first time in Nairobi, self-aware, was in 2006 or 2007. Yeah, I schooled in Kiambu. I went to Kiambu Primary School, then transferred to a school deep down in Kiambu, Banana. It's called Banana School, was called Mogumoine Junior Academy. That's where my sister was. I have an elder sister. Yeah, I should have mentioned. I have an elder sister. We're only 2 in our family. She's currently in Australia. Shout out to you, Koi. So she was in Mogumoine first, then I followed. So the rule was that Mogumoine was among the first private schools in Kiambu. So in Kiambu town or Kiambu area, Mogumoine was among the first ever private school. So my sister was in boarding in class 6, 7, and 8. As soon as she cleared class 8, I was about to join class 6, I think. I was like, I am not going to boarding school. I am leaving this school. And I even dropped my grades. I frustrated my parents. Proper last born tendencies. I frustrated them with my grades. Because my dad is very sharp. He had a scholarship to go to the UK. So he always wished for us to go to the UK. But here we are emceeing. Yeah, so they transferred me to a school known as Laureate Academy. Laureate Preparatory School. Actually, that's the full title. It's in Tendegwa. Again, Tendegwa was... If you know Tendegwa now, I wish we'd had photos of Tendegwa back then. It was coffee plantations, a mansion here, coffee plantation, a mansion there, and then a school. Now, when I went back, I think 2 years ago, randomly, I just rode my bike and decided, let me go see my alma mater. I found that they have blocks of classes. There is boarding, I think, and a junior school. I was not allowed access because I don't know anyone else from back then there. But I think I'll go back properly and visit. So that's where I finished my Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, KCPE, and then proceeded to Kiambu High School. The Kiambu High School, if I should add. So the process, the process of admission to high school. You have to pass your exams, then you're called up to a certain school. I was not initially called up to Kiambu High School. I was called to a school in Nyahururu. I can't remember the name. But then I had bronchitis, lung issues, so my parents were like, no, let's wait for the second selection. Back in our day, there was a second selection. So the second selection, I landed in Kiambu High. I even joined the school like 2 months after everyone. I was late, proper late. So when I joined, which is a funny thing, because also campus, same thing happened, but we'll come to that. So I joined when they were doing cuts. I was like, so are we doing cuts from things from class 8? What's going on? My form 1 was very confused. I was so confused. And remember, it's the first time I'm joining a boarding school. So everything is hitting me fresh. And then they have preps. But the good thing, the principal back then, Mr. Njoroge, he was like, you don't need to wake up early, you just need to manage your time. So our preps used to start at around 6, or breakfast was around 6:30 or 7. So first shift and a second shift. And we had duties. The first 2 years, being taught to be a man, because Mr. Njoroge was very categorical on, you are men. Yes, you're in boys' clothes, but you are men. So you will start thinking, behaving, working and looking like men. So everyone had a duty and no duty was lower. Because there's guys who wish to wash latrines and toilets as their duty, corridors, drainages. But for him, he always emphasized that it is work. Men have to work. So don't look at it as a menial job or something that's beneath you, which was a very good principle. High school education was good up until Form 3. So, funny story. In Form 2, for those who don't know, we choose subjects. What do you want to study? And you choose a career. Mine, I chose journalism. And then you choose with your peer counselor or your family group. There was a lady called Mrs. Ngweri who had these family groups. So you would be placed in a family group of Form 3s, Form 4s, Form 2s, Form 1s. And we'd meet, I think, every Thursday. So the purpose of the family group is to bring the teachers' humanity out, because in a school you're like, this is authority. So through the family units or the family groups, it would become now, this is no longer a teacher, this is our mom or our dad. We'd have even had bashes by now, and we'd compete. So we'd compete, oh, Mrs. Ngweri's family bash is on Wednesday, we are going to get meat, others are going to get kuku chicken, others are going to get pizza. So it was a whole competition, because it was like family gatherings at the end of the term. And so through those family groups is where now you discuss career choices, you'd say what you want to do, and they'd encourage you. They'd tell you, this is what I'm looking at as well, and this is how I want to go about it. And me, I chose journalism. Up until my dad came to that school, because after you chose a career path and you chose the subjects you wanted, your parent had to come for parents' meeting, so that they look at, okay, you've chosen this career path, these are your grades, this is what you have chosen as the subjects you want to do. Then we'd sit down, the parent, the now teacher parent, and you as the student, and we discuss the 3 things. So the parent, your parent would tell whether they want you in that path or not. My dad was adamant, you cannot be a journalist. No, you cannot. Backstory, my dad was also in the Air Force during the 82 coup. So he's a very straightforward, cutthroat person. If a table or a cup is supposed to sit a certain way, it should sit that particular way. If there's a process of you waking up, for him the process is wake up, wash your face, brush your teeth, have breakfast, leave the house. For us, it's wake up, breakfast, brush your teeth, if you want to, shower, and then leave the house. And shower if you want to. So for him, it was very, what are these kids doing? And then I used to have an afro. That thing used to throw him off. It's like, why are you not neat? But I have combed my afro. Why are you telling me I'm not neat? So nowadays, he's very happy that I am bald. Like, yeah, now you look neat. But he doesn't love the beard. Anyway, back to the story. So we sit down. He's like, no, you're not going to do journalism. The reason why he didn't want me to do journalism is because he had seen a few of his pals around Kiambu, the village, before he became a town, who are freelance reporters. And so he was like, they'd go to their local club or bar. Then he'd be like, hey, I have to chase this story. There's an accident that has happened. I have to rush out. And they're like, why don't you have normal working hours? Because for him, he used to work at the Pride of Africa, KQ. So he had a schedule. A plane would come in, they'd service it, maintenance, look at the engines, etc., and then to be released. So for him, he had a schedule. He had night shifts, he had day shifts. So he didn't understand how people don't work with schedules. Because also he's from the Air Force. So he's like, why are guys living freestyle? Which is an argument we always have. Because now my life is freestyle. So after that particular argument, I didn't know what else to do. So me, I gave up on the dream. I gave up on the dream of becoming a journalist. And I decided I'll concentrate on my basketball career. So between Form 3 and Form 4, my vision converted from journalist to I'm going to become a basketball player. I'll get a scholarship. I'll go abroad. I'll become a rapper. I'll get shot and I will die. That was my whole life vision now from that particular point, which later in life, I was like, I came to understand him. He had seen how some of his people had behavioral schedules. He didn't want that for me. I'll give you a story later on of how we balance my emceeing and his life theory. So after that, grades started dipping because now my concentration has moved from books. Basketball is my way out. Pushed until fourth form. My principal, he was, funny enough, our principal, the former principal who left at Form 2 was called Mr. Njoroge. His deputy was called Mr. Njoroge. So Mr. Njoroge too came and he just called me out of the parade. I don't know why he picked me. I have no idea why he picked me. Maybe one day I'll look for him and ask him. He just picked me and told me he remained behind. Guys were going into the dining hall for Sunday service. Mr. Kibunja, stay here. I want to talk to you. So, backstory of why he wanted to talk to me is because my whole cubicle had been suspended or expelled at one point in time through my school year, either in Form 3 or Form 4. Like, it was only 2 of us who had never been suspended. And the other guy was because he was playing rugby and I was in the basketball team. So, he was wondering, how have you not been suspended? Yet, your bed, the next bed, the one on top of that, and the other 2 have left. How have you not been suspended? Is it that we've not caught you, or are you good at explaining yourself? I did not know what to answer. I told him, I have no idea. A little did I know that afternoon I would be caught reading a newspaper in the service and go to his office. So I told him I have no idea. I told me, think about it. We'll have the same discussion maybe next week. I was like, why are you picking on me? I'm just a class. Oh yeah, I made class monitor in Form 3. I should have said that. Big achievement. So I will call you. So you're a class monitor for 4D? Yes. I will call you to my office this week. We have a discussion. I was like, okay, sawa. So I was released, went to service. Someone was passing Buzz magazine. Buzz magazine used to be in the Daily Nation. I don't know whether it's still there because you'd read interviews of superstars and celebrities. That's before social media. So the only time we were getting to interact with celebrities and what was going on outside the school was the Buzz and a magazine known as The Insider. The Insider was it. Dedix, you're sending letters. There's one time our school appeared on The Insider. We got that page and put it on the notice board. I was so happy. I was like, now we've made it. Because we used to go for funkies. So funkies are functions. This is short form for functions. We used to go for funkies in Nairobi schools, especially basketball team. We'd come and play Lenana, Nairobi School, St. Austin's. You'd see the difference, Rift Valley Academy. And I was like, where? Guys are living life. That's when I started getting my exposure now properly, Form 3, Form 4. So we were caught, taken to the principal's office. So to avoid us having one story, the principal used divide and conquer. We were like 7 guys. So everyone was walking in alone. You go and tell your story. So me, I was there, I devised a plan. I was like, I will go and say I was passing it. So I don't even know what that newspaper has. So first guy goes in, is asked, where were you reading the paper? Like, I was not reading the paper. Oh, then we hear, wah, wah. No, that one has been whipped. He walks out. We tried to talk to him. He's like, go straight. Second guy. Third guy. I was, I think, the 5th or 6th. 5th guy or 6th. Then I walked in. It's like, we meet again, Kibunja. The week has not even started. And then I was like, I'm going to be smart. Tell him, but week start on Sunday. So we can start an argument. So I was like, but week start on Sunday. Like, It's like, what? I was like, damn. Did I mess up? I said, no, sir. I said weeks start at Monday. Like, no, that's not what you said. Weeks start on Sunday. Like, yeah, rationalize it for me. So I told him, if you're working from Monday to Friday, that's work week. If the weekend starts on Friday, that means Saturday is the weekend. So Sunday has to be either a neutral day or the beginning of the week. I thought I was so smart, but it has to be either a neutral day or the beginning of the week. And since it can't be a neutral day because it's Sunday, we go with that's when the sun rises, so we are beginning the week. And the guy was looking at me like, what are you talking about? I still remember that argument because I made it again in campus. And guys were like, that's nonsense, man. What are you talking about? But for my principal, he saw something in me. So me, I was not whipped. But he told me, you have to check into my office on Wednesday. No, on Thursday. Thursday was when we were doing the family groups. So he asked me, what's your family group? I told him, her name was Mrs. Few. Like, does Mrs. Few teach you? I told him no, she does not teach me, but she did English literature with us in Form 3. And then left, we got another one. So he was like, okay, you come, I'll talk to Mrs. Few, we'll meet. So I went on Thursday, Mrs. Few came and was like, yeah, I know this guy is very active in our family group, especially with ideas for how we can make the party better, etc. We spoke. They asked me about my career and my grades. Now, the grades have dropped. So I told them, since my dad came and discouraged me from journalism, I decided, let me pursue basketball because I know I'm a talented public speaker and performer from Form 1 and 2, where I got lead roles in inter-house drama festivals. So I was like, I know I'm active in the creative space and I'm active in the sports space. So since the creative space is a no for my father, let me try the sports angle. And so we sat down and the principal looked at me and told me, have you ever thought about law? Like, what law? No, have you ever thought about practicing law? It's like, no, I have not. Why? Because now, I feel like now we are friends. I've forgotten that this space is your authority. So I asked him why. It was like, I finally figured out how you've not been suspended from the guys in your cubicle. It's not that you don't hang out with them. You do. It's not that you don't know what they do. You do. However, you know how to wiggle your way out of tricky situations. His words were, that's a very good talent for anyone practicing in the legal field. And that's how I started researching on legal. I started researching on becoming a lawyer, an advocate, what it takes, the subjects. This is Form 4, Term 2. So Term 2, I think after mocks, we choose careers and universities. I just went for bachelor's, LLB, everywhere. Moi, Nairobi, Kenyatta University. I went and ticked all the LLBs, honors I could get on those forms and submitted them. I didn't even look at any other thing. Because now, this is a man who's had authority, number one. And now he's spoken to my quote-unquote esteem. Because now when journalism was squashed, it was my esteem. It was nothing else. My esteem, it was squashed. So now he's spoken to my esteem and I'm like, damn. Now this one knows what I should be doing. And so that's how I ended up choosing law. I chose law, I applied, finished Form 4. Nearly passed. I nearly passed. Yani, I was by a point. It was by a point. If I didn't get that point, I wouldn't have gotten subsidies for my campus studies. It was 1 point, the cutoff point, 1 point. It was like by a whisker. And I think I attribute it to, because when we spoke about law, I went and told my dad. And he was like, yes, now the talent you have with regards to journalism, you can use it in the courtroom. So that's another person fueling my esteem. And I'm like, yes, this is it. So now third term was catching up on the 2 years I had lost because of my esteem had crashed. I read. I really read. For my KCSE, I read. The guys were like, we're going for midterm. Adios. I'm remaining behind. Study. Got my points, finished high school. Back then we had to wait, I think, a year or two. So during my break here, I volunteered at Kiambu Hospital. So now the story of the first principal, Mr. Njorogewan, comes into play. Because everyone was like, I'm going to do packages, I'm going to do ABCD, I'm starting finance at Strathmore. My sister then was doing something at Strathmore and my dad was like, you follow your sister? I was like, no, let me take a break because I've been reading the past 1 term like my life depends on it. So I took the break and one of the nurses was like, you guys are home. We are doing some data entry for Kiambu District Hospital. Do you mind coming to help? We'll pay you 1,500 per day. I was like, for how long? For a month. I was like, hey, sign me up. I'd wake up at around 8 and go directly to the hospital. I was like, I'm earning money. Let's go. So we'd go ask and review customer service, go to the maternity ward. We were mainly based in the male ward and the maternity ward. That's me and a friend of mine, a childhood friend called Graciela. Graciela and I, hey, we pambanad bana. Hey. We really worked our behinds off in that hospital for the whole month. So the month is over, and my dad is like, the job is over. What are you going to do next? I'm like, I don't know. So he's like, go do packages. I don't want to do packages. I know how to type. I know how to do an Excel. I know how to do. So it's like, now, before the letter comes from university, you are going to do IT. I'm like, I don't want to do IT. I have no interest in IT. Like, no. I have decided. I saw those people come to our workplace. So now this is the period when, as 2019. 2019, I don't know where you listener were in 2019, but it was the major transition when corporates, government offices were moving into the digital space. So our parents were being taught how to use a computer. Our parents were being taught how to type. Our parents were being taught, we're moving from writing reports, handwritten reports, and typing on a typewriter to typing on a computer and printing. So my dad is fascinated at how this thing works. He's like, this is what my son needs. No. So I started doing IT. Studied IT, networking. I chose networking. The connectivity. I can't even remember what the definition of networking was. So networking, user interface, UXI. But bro, when the exam came, I was like, nah, it's not my thing. So I will confess today that we were caught with what they call Mwakenyas. And Mwakenya is where you write the notes you think are going to be asked or the answers you think are going to be asked in the exam. And so for you, in a closed book examination, you have a Mwakenya. You're opening up a paper. So you were caught. The option was you either are expelled or your cut and your previous paper 1 count. Paper 2 does not count. I chose the latter because I knew my dad would kill me if he heard about the Mwakenya. So I still have the certificate somewhere, but I don't have a distinction. I am average, somewhere average. And then after that, now this is where the creative space, this is where the emceeing comes in. A lady by the name Trudy Natabona, shout out to you Trudy, and Martha Gatiba. Those 2 ladies I thank with my whole heart because they invited myself and a friend of mine called Kevin Njugi, shout out to you Kevin Njugi, to what was then Nairobi Pentecostal Church, Valley Road. Now it's Sitam Valley Road. So they told us, hey, our church has a program called Excans. We had met at a concert at Mavuno. What was the name of that Mavuno? The one that used to be at South Sea. Bellevue. We had met at a concert at Bellevue. So they were to our left as we were dancing. I'm like, can we dance with you guys? They're like, yeah, let's dance. We danced. And they were like, but hey, you guys, our church has dance groups. You guys can join. Our church has a program you guys can join. It's called the X-Cans program. That's X-Candidates. I was like, I looked at Kevo. Now Kevo had convinced me, let's pursue our sports career because he used to play rugby. So he was in the Nairobi University rugby team. Mean Machine. He was in Mean Machine. And then he told me, come play basketball at Nairobi University. They're not judging whether you're a student or not. So we'd go for practice with Kevin. So he was already in the team. I'd just go and practice with the basketball team from Nairobi University. They gave me 2 games. Those 2 games, if you're on the bench, you are making 500 back then. If you're playing, you're making 1,200. So I only played 1 game. The other one was on the bench. And then I hurt my knee, so I quit. But Kevin pursued that passion. As he was pursuing that passion, we started now attending the ex-candidate program, it was really nice. I really thank the church. For me, I thank the church for where I am, and I would never diss the church. And if the church calls me today, we don't have money, I'll show up. Because I have gotten so many networks from the church. So during the ex-cans period, I met a few guys who are still my friends until now. These are the guys who opened up this village boy's mind. They exposed me to life. Because growing up in Kiambu as a village, we only had 1 big office block or apartments. An office block at the front, apartments behind. It's called Mapa House. And everyone dreamt of living in Mapa House because it had this aura. It's by the roadside. There's a parking at the roadside. There's a lift, a whole lift. I was like, damn. Me going to my house, I use a lift. It was the only exposure I had of the good life. And then now excands, I'm going to people's places where the gate is remote controlled. I'm going to people's places where they have original breed German Shepherds. They have 3 cars in the parking lot. Growing up, we never had a car. So I'm like, how do you have 3 cars? One is for the dad, one is for the mom, one is for the children, kuwapeleka shule, taking them to school. I'm like, what? I walk to school or I use a school bus. Now now we joined the dance groups. One day during excans, Joshua comes up to me. Is it Joshua? No. I think it was Marvin. His name is Marvin. We call him Papa Mavo Kolikolo. Papa Mavo came to us and told us, you guys have the right energy. Would you mind emceeing youth church one Sunday? Like, we don't mind. It's just emceeing. Can you speak Sheng? Like, yes. But if you speak Sheng, you have to translate. So we went for rehearsals on Saturday. On Sunday, we emceed. Let me tell you, we didn't translate any Sheng thing we said. Just vibes. So, because Sitam Valley Road had a mix of both worlds. The affluent who did not know much Sheng, the middle class and the lower class who knew Sheng in totality. So, the majority did not understand Sheng. When we walked out of that stage, we were scolded. I can't remember who scolded us. Like, no, you guys are to interrupt me. However, next Sunday, you're emceeing. I looked at each other, we're like, Allah. After we've been told all that we're emceeing, still emceeing. So now we started emceeing youth church. When they close schools, when people are back from school for school holidays, we'd MC. And before they went back to school. So that now they're energized. They feel like they had an experience. Slowly by slowly, I picked it up as now I'm a full-time MC. Now I joined campus after, I think the program, Excans program. Again, I joined late. Because my letter came, it was stuck at poster for like 2 months. I'd go, nothing. The first letter, that's the first letter that delayed, came from Nairobi University, Mombasa campus. I was like, yes, finally going to Mombasa. I had gone to Mombasa for the first time in 2012 to perform. So before campus, I was like, I've never been to Mombasa, and this letter's come from Mombasa. Me, I'm going to study in Mombasa. My dad saw the letter, he was like, you're not going to Mombasa. That is how you're going to get lost. I know you won't read. You'll go and start doing your own shenanigans. So they told me, wait for a few weeks. We waited, nothing came. So they told me, my dad told me, when I was studying at Kenya Poly, I went myself and found my letter. So now you try the same. So they told me go to Kenyatta University first and then we'll look at Moi University. So I went to Kenyatta University. I got to the reception. I said my name and they told me, your letter is here. We sent one, but it was sent back. Someone misspelled or did not write the correct address. So here is your letter. This is what you're going to fill. This is what you're going to return. The form you're going to return. I was sad because now I thought I was going to be studying by the beach. Yeah. High school ended at 2009. 2019 is a different story. 2009, yes, that's my issue. That's my problem. 2009 is when I finished high school. That's when now the tech transition is happening. My dad is seeing that this IT thing, this kid will be so ahead. He'll come and replace all these old people. Yeah. So 2009 is when that transition is happening. Now took the year into 2010, joined campus end of 2010 to 2011. Yes, not 2019. My apologies. I cleared campus in 2015. Yeah, 2015. However, in between campus, how I get into emceeing is after that being thrown under the bus for the youth church. And then 2012 or 13, we participate in a dance competition, Sakata, on Citizen TV.
Catch more African stories in the next episode of Legally Clueless. I hope you enjoyed part 1 of James's story. As I said, part 2 will be out next week. You know what? I really loved when he was talking about his schooling experience and just having teachers who were so intentional about being in their students' lives. Even like the family setup, I've never heard of that, and I just thought that was so beautiful. And the head teacher, Mr. Njoroge, who was like, have you thought about law, etc. Just having such involved teachers is something that really stood out to me in this story, part 1 anyway. And so I wanted to know from you, on whatever platform you're listening to this on, do you remember a teacher, maybe in primary or in high school, who took time out to see you as important and helped you spot your talent or navigate a tough period? Because yes, there's so many bad teachers like who just take out their frustrations on you or who are not even present. But there are also some when we look back, you're like, oh, I remember this guy. Like I remember Mr. Martinez. He was my chemistry teacher. I loved how he taught. I don't know what he was trying to teach us once, but we basically started a fire in the lab, and the whole school had to be evacuated to like the fire. What are they called? The place, fire assembly points, right? And he was just like, just act like you don't know. Oh my goodness, Mr. Martinez. There's another teacher I remember in high school. She was my English teacher. And the weird part is I remember her face, everything, but her name escapes me. And she was the teacher who introduced me to poetry. I always remember her because I just instantly fell in love with poetry from the way she taught it to me. I'll always attribute my love of poetry to her. Anyway, so I want to hear from you. Is there is a teacher who stands out for you? Drop it in the comments on whatever platform you're listening to this episode on. And remember, part 2 of James's story is out next week. If you're in the greater East Africa region, you can catch us on Trace FM. Just go to www.traceradio.co.ke to stream. We're there Mondays and Wednesdays at 1 p.m. and 11 p.m. Kenyan time. And on Fridays, we're there at 1 p.m. Kenyan time as well. If you want to share your story on this podcast, yes, you can do it. In the show notes, there's a link to our storyteller form. Fill it out and we'll get back to you if you're African. You have a story, it's valid, and we want to hear it. Until next episode, I'm sending you so much love. Man, I'm just in a spirit of gratitude because I'm just thinking of how far this space has grown. And so I'm very thankful to you for being part of the family. That's it for this episode of Legally Clueless. You can share this podcast with your friends. You can keep it for yourself. I'm not judging. Just make sure you're here next week for the next episode.